Welcome to this video from 7th Circle Gaming. Today we're analyzing the early access game Enshrouded. We're going to start off in just a minute here with the full disclosure. And of course you're welcome to pause the video and read through all of that at your leisure, or if you would prefer not to, just let the video run. The world of Enshrouded is big. This screenshot simply cannot communicate how impressively large the game world is. On the other hand, it can communicate rather well how minimalistic the user interface is. From what we can see here, everything is centered around the edges of the screen, leaving the majority of the play space available for rendering the world. Speaking of the world of the game, let's now move on to taking a closer look at the game world. From what we can see here, Enshrouded is set in a pretty generic Western fantasy world. It's not overly realistic nor overly cartoonish either. We can also see that the user interface, as we said before, is pretty minimalistic and centered around the edges of the screen, with the player health bar at the top left-hand corner, the inventory screen at the bottom center of the screen, and the currently selected quest at the top right-hand corner. In this screenshot, we're going to take a closer look at one of the major aspects of the game, which is inventory management. As we've come to expect from any sort of role-playing game, all of the items here have statistics attached to them for players to examine and attempt to optimize for their particular playstyle. Another major aspect of the game is player agency, which we've chosen to represent here with a screenshot of the game's skill tree. Now, this is not the only way that the game allows players to have some agency, but it is just a representative sample. Now then, that's all the screenshots we have to share with you, so we're going to move on to our first proper chapter, which is immersion, as it always is. Here the game has earned a slightly below average 7 out of 15. The game does get some credit for having story as an aspect of immersion, although it is really just an outline of the setting, rather than story as we might come to expect it in other games of the genre. For difficulty, the game has earned a frankly very low score of 3 out of 15. The game does not have any difficulty settings as such, and it does not appear as there are any settings in the settings menu that could adversely or positively affect difficulty either. On the other hand, the user interface is minimalistic and easily understood, and while there are some minor issues with both control setups, either keyboard and mouse or gamepad, neither are insurmountable. For lasting appeal, the game has again earned a score of 3 out of 15. At present, the game does not permit any mods through conventional sources, and it does not have any downloadable content available. The game does have 3 ways of engaging with it. However, these are, broadly speaking, just 3 different degrees of openness to allowing multiplayer. Thus, it is only the ability to create multiple characters, the fact that this is an early access game and players may be concerned about missing out on a potentially very good game, and players' desire to engage with the setting that drives their continued engagement with the software. Overall, in its present state, the game has earned a score of 4.33 out of 15, which is, I don't think I need to repeat this, very low. Although this is an early access game, so everything that we've just said is very much subject to change. Technically speaking, the game is functional. It works equally well with a gamepad, DualShock 4, or a mouse and keyboard. Although utilizing a DualShock 4 does require a little bit of extra fiddling, but nothing that players that use a DualShock 4 on a regular basis will be unfamiliar with. And now onto a couple of highly subjective statements, so please have your salt handy. One of the reasons that we chose to analyze this game is that we'd heard the game was a Skyrim clone. It's absolutely not. If we're looking for something to compare it to in the Bethesda back catalog, that would be Fallout 4. Game needs more variety in craftable equipment. Right now, as it stands, what is better just simply has bigger numbers. The game desperately needs a mount system. At present, the only way of getting around the map, which we already said is massive, is by abusing the fast travel system. And on that final highly subjective note, we do look forward to seeing you on our next analysis, which is likely going to be the game Nightingale, unless someone in the comments section suggests a game that they'd really like to see. If you've played Enshrouded and you disagree with anything that we've said here, please post that in the comments section below. Either way, we look forward to seeing you on that Nightingale review, and from 7th Circle Gaming, goodbye.